what we try to really accomplish here in the power of conversation with Mindset Live is things that I wish that I was taught in school, things that I wish that I was taught when I was 18, 17, 25, even 35. All that I found through the power of conversation, all that I found through the power of highly influential friends, and just really researching and investigating on my own. And, because you pursue a certain degree of self-investigation and self-awareness and basically becoming a better human being, if you look at the title of this broadcast, doesn't mean that you're going to shed who you are. Doesn't mean that you're going to become this, hermit and live in the Himalayas in a cave. Doesn't mean that you're never going to get frustrated. Doesn't mean that you're never going to get annoyed again. It just simply means one thing and one thing only: what the pursuit of having a growth mindset, what the pursuit of becoming more human, and not suffering needlessly, not suffering unnecessarily. Because as I said in part one, there is such a thing as necessary suffering, right? The ultimate molder or artist or, shaper and professor is life. The ultimate professor is life. The ultimate teacher is life, right? This is all about, trying to not let things get too sticky and try to actually be in some sense of control of how you react to things. It's really beyond, I believe, this is just my opinion on my 40 years of being on this planet. It's really beyond your control, 90% of the things that happen in your life. But what is your absolute sovereignty is your ability to interpret and your ability to basically create meaning out of those things that happen to you, right? So when you're going to still get frustrated, you're going to still get annoyed, you're going to still get angry. Those monsters are still going to live in here, but they're not quite as voluminous. They're not quite as loud. They don't have as much power and grip over you, right? I come from hot-blooded ancestors. I have a temper. I definitely have a temper. And it was a lot worse in my 20s and 30s. It was definitely a lot worse when I was a teenager. Through cultivating self-awareness and emotional intelligence and self-investigation and just trying to become more human, this is really self-care, the best care. This is really self-care, right? I've said in previous Mindset Lives, we go to the gym and we work on the external side of us. We work on our external selves. But what about our inner selves? We don't talk enough about the inner gym, if you will. We don't talk enough about that. And that's really super important to me and something I feel is really valuable. And I hope that people will tune into this and people will check this out. There are definite ways, and I'm just a reminder. That's all Professor Nez is. Professor Nez is just simply a reminder. We're live on Instagram. We're live on Facebook. Hey, Tony, good to see you. Fantastic. Let me know how I'm coming through, brother. Good to see you. Very, very good to see you. Operating from a more authentic epicenter. That's what Mindset Live is all about. That's what having a sense of who you are. As Aristotle said, the more you know who you are, the less you let insignificant trifles get to you. We are consumed by insignificant trifles. Why did that person look at me weird at the grocery store? Why didn't she say hello? Hey, in Los Angeles, good to see you, Tony. Why didn't they call me back? Why didn't they like my post? We are consumed by insignificant trifles, right? This is about focusing. This is about really prioritizing. What's the most important thing in your life? What really matters in your life? Okay, am I an expert at this? Not even close. Not even close. Just ask my wife. She'll vouch for it. Not even close. Ciao, ciao bello. Hey, how you doing, Nazim? Nazim from Italiano. How are you, sir? Sorry for the terrible Italian accent. I apologize. I had to. It just came out. Good to see you, Nazim. Nazim is a dear friend. Awesome dude. Great live streamer. Good to see you, Nazim. Thanks for joining us. It's going to be really quick because I have a client meeting literally in 15 minutes. So I'm just going to go for another 10 minutes. But I felt really bad. If you didn't see part one was disrupted. Disruption. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the obstacles that we face in our life. Let's talk about the things that happen in our life. Here's the thing you got to remember. This is something I do not want anybody to forget. Thank you. Thank you very much, Nazim. This is something I don't want anybody to forget, and it's this. Stuff will happen. Crap happens, right? In your life. Things will occur that are way beyond your control. The supreme intelligence of what created you and what brought you here is far more intelligent than you'll ever be. So if you think you've got these tight reins, this tight control on everything, you've got another thing coming. Things happen, okay? Pain is inevitable. As a human being, you cannot escape pain. You will experience pain in your life. But suffering is a choice. What's the difference? Pain is inevitable. You cannot roll the dice on this thing called being a human being. You cannot take any risks being a human being without experiencing some pain. As a matter of fact, pain is a really, really beneficial thing. Pain is a beautiful teacher, as a matter of fact. You cannot escape pain, but suffering is a choice. Can anybody tell me the difference? In the comments below, tell me what you think is the difference between pain and suffering. And why do I say suffering is a choice? And why do I think pain is inevitable? Stuff happens every day. Things happen every day. They may not go according to plan. They may not go according to what you want and desire every single day. But it's how you interpret them that makes all the world of a difference. It's how you interpret that creates meaning in your life and actually creates your reality. It actually creates your experience. Yes, very good, Tony. Pain is a lesson. Nazim, totally agree. Pain brings on new challenges and paths. Absolutely. Very well said. You cannot escape pain. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to have anxiety. It's okay to not know what the F you're doing. This is part of being a human being. This is part of the quest. This is part of the discovery. Just because you're somebody who's trying to be more conscious, a more conscious living entity, right? And I'm really nervous using this kind of verbiage because this is not woo-woo. This is not spooky, ooky bathrobes and incense burning, Himalayan chanting. I don't want none of that stuff. This has to be extremely, extremely applicable, experiential, and practical. Tony says suffering is something you have to avoid. I don't think suffering is something that you have to avoid, but it's something that you don't have to even experience. It's something that actually is based on this dude right here, interpreting events. So for example, if I lose a job, okay, one way, so the job, let's say the company was laying off people. Let's say the company had nothing to do with what you did, right? Had nothing to do with your performance, but they needed to cut costs. But this happens every single day, right? This happens since the beginning of time. It's happened every single day, right? Now, one interpretation is this could be the worst thing that ever happened to me. What am I going to do? Oh my God, how am I going to do this? And there's going to be a lot of, it's a painful thing to lose a gig, but the suffering is the story that we interpret. That's where the suffering comes in. Now, the whole kind of framework of this broadcast and the whole framework of the title here, right? Your authentic self. Is it possible to be without an ego? When one gets their mind set, do they stop getting annoyed, frustrated, or feeling angry or anything like that? No, absolutely not. It's okay to feel that. But it's when it takes grip of you and that story takes over where it feeds into those counterintuitive, counterproductive emotions, right? This goes into Stoicism as well. I'm sure Nazim could talk about this. You feed that story and it creates your reality. And, 1 hour of pain can turn into 3 days of suffering, 3 years of suffering, a whole lifetime of suffering. That's how it starts. That's how it develops. That's what Mindset Live is all about. Looking at these things together through the power of conversation. That's how these things grow. That's how these things become those monsters. I call them those monster voices in your head, right? Just constantly polluting your experience, constantly clouding your judgment, creating a reality. You know, one of my favorite quotes that I think applies to this broadcast more than anything is by the great Winston Churchill. Maybe that modifier is not accurate. I don't know about great. There's a lot of different things said about him, but forget that adjective or that superlative. Winston Churchill once said that 90% of the things that I distressed about were only imagined. I think this is a great place to leave off. 90% of the things that distressed me and caused me stress were only imagined. They were all in here. Mindset Live. Why don't we talk about this in school? Why don't we talk about this more? I learned from the greatest teachers of all time. I learned from great authors, great creative people that were hugely inspiring to me. Friends, family, loved ones. Life. Life is the ultimate professor. Right? Experience is the ultimate professor. As the great philosopher John Locke once said, experience is the greatest teacher. I said in the last broadcast, you can't learn how to paint by just reading about it. You can't learn to play the piano, right, just by, talking about it or studying it or researching it. You got to do it. Experience is the ultimate teacher. You can't learn to live stream just by thinking about it, just by talking to people who've done it. You must do it yourself, right? Life is about experiences. I say, accept all of those experiences because they're going to come time and time again. The pain, being a human being is fraught with pain. It's fraught with pain. Again, suffering is a choice. Anyway, I'm so happy that you guys got on here. Tony says, I meant to say no to let that get in the way of your purpose. We all go through tough times. It's how we see things. Yes, and how we change them. Very well said. Very well said, Tony. Thank you. I'm live on Instagram. I'm live on Facebook. I must go. I've got a client meeting coming up. But I wanted to get on here. I like this broadcast a lot. I like them short and sweet sometimes. Most of my broadcasts go hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. They go way too long probably, and I'm sure nobody probably watches, that long. At least if they do, God bless you if you do, first of all. But I don't think the majority of people do. I think it might be interesting to kind of experiment with these short and sweet ones. Thank you, Tony. Good to see you. Might be really cool to experiment with these short and sweet ones. Okay, I'm going to get going, guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Mindset Live. Really quick before you go, if you want to reach out to me, if you're looking for career services, if you're looking for a life coach, if you're looking for a social media marketing consultant, resume writer or anything like that, connect with me, DM me, message me. I'm happy to help. You can go to my LinkedIn profile. Everything is the same. It's Professor Nez on LinkedIn. It's Professor Nez on Instagram. Professor Nez on my Facebook business page. My website is professornez.com. Feel free to reach out to me. I would love to talk to you, and we can have a conversation about how maybe I could serve you. I would love to engage with you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.